To count one, malice, murder, we, the jury, find Quaneesha Johnson not guilty. As to count two, felony murder, we, the jury, find the defendant, Quaneesha Johnson, guilty of voluntary manslaughter. As to count three, aggravated assault, family violence, we, the jury, find the defendant, Quaneesha Johnson, guilty.
In this episode of Urban Crime Stories, we will examine the heartbreaking story of Quaneesha Johnson, a young woman whose life in DeKalb County, Georgia, tragically changed forever. Quaneesha Johnson was no stranger to adversity. Growing up in the gritty neighborhoods of Lithonia, Georgia, she faced challenges that would break most spirits. But Quaneesha was resilient, determined to rise above her circumstances. She dreamed of a better life for herself and her 3 children. Later, a man named DeMonte Smith entered Quaneesha's life. Their love story began in the midst of the bustling chaos of their neighborhood. Despite the challenges they faced, their affection for each other flourished, filling their days with hope and promise. DeMonte quickly became a father figure to Quaneesha's children, his gentle demeanor bringing stability and warmth to their lives. Together, they dreamed of a future filled with joy and prosperity, where their love would conquer all obstacles. However, fate had its own agenda. Quaneesha later found herself entangled in a web of tragedy and violence. The events unfolded on a fateful night in November 2022, when Quaneesha left her 3 children in the care of DeMonte Smith, the father of her youngest child. She had gone out clubbing with friends, expecting to return home by 6 a.m. The club's neon lights blurred reality, and for a few hours, Quaneesha forgot her struggles. But as the hours ticked by, Quaneesha remained absent, leaving DeMonte increasingly worried. DeMonte's concern escalated when he couldn't reach Quaneesha. Her phone was off, and he feared for her safety. Desperate, he contacted members of Quaneesha's family who joined the search. They checked hospitals and jails, hoping to find any trace of her. Meanwhile, Quaneesha finally turned her phone back on, discovering missed messages from DeMonte. The tension mounted as they engaged in a heated phone call, with DeMonte threatening her upon her return. Quaneesha, feeling unsafe, called 911 for a police escort to her home in Lithonia. When she arrived, DeKalb County police officers were already present. They instructed her to put her gun away, but tensions flared as DeMonte confronted her outside. The officers attempted to mediate, but Quaneesha's defiance persisted. She even asked the police officers about self-defense, hinting at her knowledge of the law. DeMonte, exhausted and worried sick, confronted Quaneesha. Their voices escalated, anger fueled by fear. Quaneesha's eyes darted to her car parked nearby. In a desperate bid to protect herself, she retrieved a metal tire iron and her loaded gun. Inside the house, she instructed one of her children to call 911, claiming that DeMonte had assaulted her. The situation escalated and Quaneesha made a fateful decision. She struck DeMonte in the head with the tire rod and fatally shot him. A single gunshot echoed through their modest home. Authorities reported that Smith came outside and told them, "She hit me in the head with a metal thing and shot me. Hurry before I die." After that, he collapsed. Investigators later discovered that Smith had requested a rideshare to leave the house but was shot and killed just minutes before it was scheduled to arrive. After the police arrived, they wasted no time in taking Quaneesha into custody, ensuring the safety of her children by placing them in protective care. As they led her away, the community watched with a mix of concern and curiosity, whispering amongst themselves about the events that had unfolded. Inside the courtroom, the atmosphere was tense, filled with murmurs of speculation and judgment. Some sympathized with Quaneesha, recognizing the complexities of her situation, while others cast blame and condemnation upon her. When the trial started, they learned about Quaneesha's tough life. They saw she was scared, sad, and loved her kids. Quaneesha's lawyers spoke strongly, saying she didn't do anything wrong. They said she had to protect herself and her kids from her abusive boyfriend, DeMonte. They talked about how scared she was and how hard it was for her to stay safe in a hostile place. But the other side said Quaneesha didn't need to hurt DeMonte. They said she should have tried other things instead of using violence. During the trial, the jury listened carefully to statements, looked at the evidence, and deliberated for a long time, even when it got late. They wanted to be fair and kind, but they also had to do what was right. When it was over, the judge said Quaneesha did bad things. She hurt someone, didn't take care of her kids right, and had a gun when she shouldn't have. DeKalb County Superior Court Judge Shondiana Morris ordered Quaneesha Nicole Johnson to serve a sentence of 5 years in prison, 5 years of home confinement, and 10 years of probation for the 2022 slaying of 29-year-old DeMonte Smith. After her sentencing, Judge Morris granted Johnson's request to remain under house arrest while her attorney appealed her case. The decision hung in the air, making everyone feel heavy inside. Outside, people felt all kinds of things. Some were sad for Quaneesha, thinking about what would happen to her. Others were mad because they thought she didn't get treated fairly. They all knew something needed to change so that things like this wouldn't happen again. After Quaneesha's trial, things felt different in the neighborhood. People talked a lot about what had happened and wanted things to change. They talked about helping families who were struggling and asking for more help from the local government. But despite the tough times, the community came together to help Quaneesha's kids. They showed kindness and support, proving that even when things are hard, there's always a way to help each other. As time went on, the hurt started to fade, and the neighborhood began to feel more hopeful. People worked together to make things better so that something like this wouldn't happen again. And although Quaneesha's actions left a mark, the community learned from it and grew stronger because of it. What are your thoughts about this case? Was Quaneesha's prison sentence unfair, or did the justice system take it light on her? Share your comments down below. If you are new to the channel or haven't done so, please subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to be notified for future cases. Your support is greatly appreciated. Until next time, I will see you with another episode of Urban Crime Stories.